שבת אחים גם יחד.
Hine ma tovu manayim Shabbat achim gam yachad. How good and how pleasant, how wonderful it is for all of us to be here together on this Shabbat. We take a moment each and every Shabbat to welcome one another into this space. And the reason why we do that is because we recognize that Shabbat is made even more special, even more holy when we share it with the people who are around us. An opportunity to say Shabbat Shalom to the people who are at home and who are streaming from all over the place. And if you want to turn the cameras right behind us, we can say Shabbat Shalom to everyone at home. Shabbat Shalom. Glad that you are here and joining. You can say Shabbat Shalom by typing it into the Boxcast chat. And for everyone else, I'm going to do something. I know it feels you just got settled in. That's great. I'm going to ask you to please rise. All right, please stand. Great. And now what I'm going to ask you to do is to turn to the north, the south, the east, the west, to go down the aisles. Just say Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. Take a moment and welcome one another here. As we prepare to light the Shabbat candles and welcome in Shabbat with lighting the lights of Shabbat and also sanctifying Shabbat with Kiddush, we recognize that sometimes people wonder, why do we have two candles? And it's to remind us of the two commandments that we find in the Ten Commandments. The Ten Commandments found in Exodus and the Ten Commandments found in the book of Deuteronomy, which tells us, Shamor v'zachor et Shabbat, that we are supposed to guard and to keep the Sabbath. And our Jewish tradition tells us that as much as the Jewish people have kept Shabbat, that Shabbat has helped to keep the Jewish people alive too. And so we welcome in Shabbat with the words of L'Hadlik Ner and Kiddush.
במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם Borei peri hagafen, Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, B'shabbat kodsho be'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu, Zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit. כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים. כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. לחיים.
As we've welcomed in Shabbat, we take an opportunity also to just take a moment to share good things that are happening in our lives. They can be small things or big things. I will say that I was very excited that this week we learned that our 12-year-old now 12-year-old got accepted into a summer program that he applied to, and he was dancing around the house today, which was a lot of fun, so we're very excited about that. But what are some of the sort of good things that have been happening in your life, small or large? Anyone? Yes. That's huge. There. You attended a wedding in utero then, but yes. But 66 years, that's an amazing wedding anniversary. Mazel tov to them. That's great. That's awesome. Anyone else have anything? Yeah. Your sister is visiting from New York. Have a wonderful visit and get all the snuggles in, and that's wonderful. That's great. Anyone else? Yes. That's great to be able to visit with your brother and sister-in-law, and also to be here to remember honey, which is a beautiful thing too. A really important thing to do. So thank you for being here tonight. Yes. Hold on, I'm coming to you. Yeah. You're happy that you got to be here? Oh, that is so beautiful. We are also happy that you are here. And I definitely know that you go here on Sundays. Yes. She's here. Yeah. Great. What else? Anyone else?
Yep. My father's coming to celebrate his 75th birthday with his grandchildren.
That's beautiful. Mazel tov to your father, and have a great, awesome opportunity to celebrate with your dad. That's great, Zach. Well, for birthdays and for just celebrating being here, and for an opportunity to be with our siblings in a beautiful way, for just all good things that are happening in our lives, we give thanks to God, not only for giving us life, but for sustaining our lives to just help us reach joyous occasions.
Go ahead. D chord. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
Continue to welcome Shabbat with the words of Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala v'lei Shabbat Shabbat, lechu v'lecha, ilekol habracha, rosh kedem nesucha, shemase machshavat tehila, lecha dodi, likrat halacha, b'nei Shabbat, ne'avela, lecha dodi, likrat halacha, b'nei Shabbat, ne'avela. Hitoreri, Ima orei, kumi ori, uri, shir daveri, Evod Adonai, alayich nigla, lecha dodi, likrat halacha, b'nei Shabbat, ne'kabela, lecha dodi, likrat halacha, b'nei Shabbat, ne'kabela. Ovi v'shalom, lecha dodi, likrat kalam, b'nei Shabbat, nekabela. Lecha dodi, likrat kalam, b'nei Shabbat, nekabela. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, בחושך, בחושך נבנה אור. Roll into light, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדת, אותנו לימדת. אדוני אלוהינו בשכבנו, ובחומנו נשיח לחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ומצוותיך לעולם ועד. חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם כיום הלילה, כיום הלילה. ואהבתך תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, ובשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. Ani Adonai Elohechem.
In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
פדרני את יעקב, וגלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
As we continue with the words of Eshamru, right, we hear the words echoing of that we talked about at the lighting of the candles, to shamor, to guard, and to keep zachor. We guard and keep Shabbat, observing Shabbat throughout the ages as a commandment for all time.
Shabbat, et ha-Shabbat, la'asod et ha-Shabbat, et orotam, beritolam, ve'yuvei b'nei Yisrael, oti le'olam,
ששת ימים
asa Adonai, et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, 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 lai. Vayom hashve'i Shabbat vayinafash
ata Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avoteinu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Bekonei HaKol Bezocher Chasdei Avot V'Imaot Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem Lema'an Shemo Be'ahava Melech Hozer Umoshia Umagin Baruch Atah Adonai Magin Avraham Bezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiva Ruach Umorid HaGashem Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Kayem Emunhato Lishenei Afar Micha Mocha Baal Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Beimit Chayeh Matzmiach Yeshua V'ne'eman ata le'achayot hakol Baruch ata Adonai Mechayei hakol Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh U'kadoshim b'chol yom yahalelu chasela Baruch ata Adonai Ha'el hakadosh.
Shabbat is a great gift, and you have given yourself the gift of Shabbat. And so we take time now to give ourselves the gift of just being silently present on this Shabbat with the prayers that are at the core and at the center of our beings. To take silence to pray for those in our community, to take silence for just yourself.
Tasim leolam.
Shalom Rava Yisrael Avram.
Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
I want to invite you to read with me a prayer for the state of Israel. God of our ancestors, Elohei Avotenu v'imotenu, we affirm that you have created each of us in your sacred image, endowed with the inherent right to dignity and autonomy. We ask that you guide us towards a caring and loving community and nation that reveres this dignity in each of us. We affirm that this is a different prayer. Continue. We'll go to the next prayer. I was like, this is really different than what I thought it was. All right. Next prayer. Keep going. Well, okay. Great. We're gonna we'll be flexible tonight. Well, this evening we're going to actually conclude with the words of Oseh Shalom, which is we're going to conclude with a piece that was actually written by Zach. And so we'll have that be our prayer for peace for Israel. Peace, shalom, is our people's greatest prayer. It's our greatest hope. And Zach's rendition and setting to Oseh Shalom is hopeful as one can possibly be about the potential and hope for shalom, for peace. We'll continue with the words of Misha Berach, and we'll say the blessing. We'll put the names of members of our community on the screen, and there's a real recognition on this Shabbat that my presence here is precisely also because of Rabbi Erdheim needs to be with her family, and we are thinking particularly also of Rabbi Erdheim's family and her mother specifically. But I want to invite people to also add names to their congregational list of people that you're thinking about who are in need of healing of mind and body and spirit and soul, and to ensure that that we add their names to our congregational list and then pray for them together as one community. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh HaCholim. Blessed are you, O God, who comforts those who are in need. Bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha. a renewal of spirit, and let us say, My mentor, that was a little loud. My mentor, Rabbi David Stern, had a great way of introducing this week's Torah portion. And he began always by explaining that we had to have a reminder that 2 weeks ago, the Torah portion was filled with majesty and drama and thunder and lightning and the world-changing event of the giving of the 10 Commandments at Mount Sinai. And that those commandments would form the foundation not only for Judaism, but for civilization as we know it today. And then 1 week ago, the drama sort of just came down a notch, but the Torah still offered these powerful verses. It commanded us not to oppress the stranger, because we were once strangers in the land of Egypt. It prohibited the abuse of the economically vulnerable in businesses, right, or in the marketplace. It reminded us of the beauty of Shabbat, of the holidays and the festivals that we have. So thunder and lightning at Mount Sinai, and then moral teachings about how we're supposed to live our life. And then we come to this week's Torah portion, Terumah, and it feels like a pretty significant descent from the heights of Mount Sinai. Because there's no earthquakes, and there's no 10 Commandments moments. There's no lofty values about how we treat the marginalized or the oppressed. Instead, we're drawn into the minutia of a construction project, the building of the tabernacle. The tabernacle is a portable sanctuary, a tent that the Israelites constructed in the wilderness, and we encounter verse after verse after verse after verse dealing with cubits and measurements and rods and sockets and rings and gromets, which not totally know if I know what that is. Maybe it's a grommet. Who knows? French or not. Loops, planks, wood, all sorts of things. Now, I'm the type of person, and Rabbi Nichols and I have joked that when she goes into like Home Depot or to Lowe's, that's her place. I go into Home Depot and Lowe's, and I start to have like heart palpitations. Right? Like, I'm not supposed to be there. I'm supposed to call someone to help me out. Right? That I get really overwhelmed by construction projects. Not my forte. But if a home improvement store ever needed a biblical endorsement from a Torah portion, this week's Torah portion is it. For the width of the enclosure on the front or on the east side, 50 cubits. 15 cubits of hangings on the one flank with 3 posts and their 3 sockets. 15 cubits of hangings on the other flank with the 3 posts and the 3 sockets. Great. It's compelling stuff. Riveting, in fact. So what do we make of this Torah portion and the tabernacle's construction project? What, especially for those of us who are as tool challenged as I am? How do we explain this? And I want to begin to explain it with the idea of nostalgia. So this is going to feel like a non sequitur, but I hope to promise to loop it back up. So last week my son Micah turned 12 years old, which just feels shocking to me. For anyone who's had that happen to you, shocking. And I think very often around birthdays of our children, sometimes I find myself looking at pictures. And so this past birthday, Micah, and along with his 8-year-old brother Jonas, we watched some videos and looked at some pictures of previous birthdays, and then that led us to looking at other pictures and videos of things that we've, sort of taken as a family, and the moments of nostalgia that help us to remember and cherish the times and the people that were really special to us. But mainly, I think that we sort of revisit these moments because they were really meaningful in our lives. Not just the birthday celebrations, but the trips and the journey and there's certain moments that you just capture and they're memorable. And as we sort of were looking at some of the pictures, I saw some pictures of my niece turned 4 years old this week. And we were at her naming ceremony right before COVID began. And it reminded me of the naming ceremonies. And then it sort of looked at, saw a wedding that we had attended as a family. And I saw major milestones. And I saw school presentations. All these significant events. And we engage with these memories to somehow preserve that time is transcendent. And that brings us back to this Torah portion, this construction project of the tabernacle. Because after the Sinai experience, as it was time to move on, our ancestors faced a profound challenge. How do we take the revelatory experience of the earthquake and the fires, if you will, of Sinai? How do we take that with us? How do we sustain a sense of God's commanding, elevating, ennobling presence in our lives? How do we do that? And the answer was to build something plank by plank, rods and poles, loops and sockets. And at the center of this structure would be an ark. Now, other ancient Near Eastern cultures also had portable shrines housing idols and their deities. But our ark, there was no idol. There was no rendering of a mountain. There was no sculpture of a deity. Instead, our ark contained words, the commandments. And the primary purpose of the tabernacle was to remind us of that Sinai experience, to sustain the sense of a transcendent moment and God's transcendent presence. And so many people feel that way when we open the ark to take the Torah out. Because the arks in synagogues, well, they're modeled after the portable tabernacle. They're supposed to be like our virtual Mount Sinai, which I often say here, where each and every time that we read the Torah, we reenact the experience of revelation. We stand as a community as the Torah is removed. We walk with the Torah in the congregation. We open the Torah and we read from it. We lift it up for everyone to see. And each time we remove the Torah or open the ark, it is intended to elevate a nostalgic memory of how our ancestors stood at Mount Sinai to receive the teachings and precepts of our people. But here's where the tabernacle surpasses nostalgic pictures and movies that we have. The words of the Torah, the words of the commandments, they're not just reminders of the past moments. They're also aspirations of our future. What we are not yet, what we haven't yet become, what we might become. Thou shalt be this, and thou shalt not be that. Thou shalt live in freedom and dignity, and thou shalt not oppress another. Mount Sinai is remembered not through special effects, but through its message. We don't just look at an image or a picture. We carry the message, and then we pass it to our children so that they may carry it in their lives.
And the tabernacle is this tangible vehicle for the nostalgia, for that gift of Torah. And the tabernacle holds the words that help us to live a meaningful and aspirational future. Rods and sockets and planks and poles and all of it. And this is how Jewish living works. Because we're blessed to know transcendent moments in our lives, sacred moments of awe and wonder and love and beauty and community. And the goal of Jewish living, unlike nostalgia, is not to sustain these moments so that they never end. But rather, the goal of Jewish living is to create bridges amongst them so that we're always creating opportunities for the next moment of meaning. Once we've been touched by these mountaintop moments, how do we sustain them? Well, we build something, plank by plank, that can hold our nostalgia and help us live a meaningful future too. And that's where the last week's Torah portions really matters. Because the acts of bringing food to a pantry or tutoring a child are planks that preserve the holy. Joining in advocacy for reproductive rights or educating others about Jewish parenting are rods and their sockets. Lighting Shabbat candles as we did tonight, being present in relationships, taking care of yourself so that you can take care of others. Engaging with our tradition and our rituals and our texts and holidays. These are concrete acts along a holy way. Rav Mordechai Yosef Leiner of Itzbitz, known as the Meha Shaloach, he noted that the tabernacle and its furnishings were built with whole numbers, no half numbers at all. But then he noticed that the measurements are all in, but the ark's measurements, right? So the tabernacle is all in whole numbers. But the ark that's inside of it, well, it's all in half numbers. 2.5 breadths, 1.5 breadths wide, 1.5 breadths high. And he says that this teaches us that none of us are ever complete. We're always growing and becoming. There is always an infinite path of soul development before us. Because the home improvement of it all, measurements and all, they send a message. We're not done. The building project is never done. We're all in a process, still being built, stage by stage, plank by plank. As Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel teaches, we must be satisfied with what we have, but never with who we are. We move from the mountain's inspiration to new openings towards holiness every single day. We build a life of sacred possibility, one plank, one action at a time. Our memories have value, and they serve as a reminder that our future isn't yet set. We make the future. We make the future a future filled with the values of kindness and fairness and compassion. Each and every day that we choose to walk with the Torah in our lives. Shabbat Shalom. We rise with the words of Aleinu L'Shabeach.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני Shemo, Shemo, Shemo Echad.
Please be seated. We think of our loved ones whom taught us to build plank by plank, rod by rod, who lovingly helped us to learn how to act in the world and to live on with their values. We think of those who died at this time in season past, those whom have died recently, and we think of those whom we have drawn into our hearts as our own. On this Shabbat, we are observing the Shloshim, the first 30 days, after Toby Bluma Contento, Mara Ray DeFino, Paul Hoeing, Leonard Kaplan, Michael Edward Krieger, Dale Rochelle Lederer, Mark Rothman, and Warren Seinsheimer. We mark with sympathy and sadness the yahrzeits, the anniversaries of the deaths of Bernice R. Altbach, Leonard Berman, Arlene Zimmerman Cohen, Betty Coplin, Molly Cowan, Iris Crimmins, Wilma Faye Davis, Arnold Epstein, Ray Fagan, William Ward Faison, Annette Foxman, Lou Franklin, Barbara Lord Governick, Robert Gentile, Philip M. Glazer, Estelle Gold, Rita Goldblatt, Abraham Green, Robert Greenblatt, Evelyn Hitt, Ruth Joseph, David Joseph, Rossi Klein, Lillian A. Klein, Elsie Krasner, Honey Kreidel, Celia Kufert, Robert Lieberman, Helen S. Levine, Jack Manton, Lily Marks, Charles Miles, Harry Millman, Aaron Mond, Joshua Novell, who's on here twice as Joshua Novell, Margaret Portis, Alfred Radici, Sheldon Resnitsky, Harry Richter, Alfred Schönwalter, Gabriel Schwartz, Daniel I. Sherry, Florence Siegel, Robert Spiegel, Stid Strauss, Irene Strauss, Harry Vygotsky, Frederica Weisenthal, and Dorothy L. Yoder. Is anyone here remembering someone? Remember as well all who died in the Holocaust and the Shoah, those who died giving their lives for our defense of the United States and also the defense of Israel. Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, as we rise as one congregational family with the words of Kadisha Tom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitzgadal vayitzkadash shemei rabah, ve'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei zechol beit Yisrael, v'agala v'zman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabah mivarach le'olam olamei olamaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithalev v'yithalal shemei kudisha barichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiram be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, huya aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen.
A few announcements about things that are happening in our community. On Sunday, March 3rd at 10 a.m., the Brotherhood is having a brunch, and we're going to have Mark Bittner, who's going to be with us. If you don't know who Mark Bittner is, he is a Temple Bethel member. He's also the chief economist of Piedmont Crescent Capital. He was previously, I think, the chief economist at Wells Fargo. And Mark's award-winning insight and analysis on economics and consumer spending is something to behold. He's really has incredible understanding of our global economy. And he's going to have a graphic presentation and talk about what's happening and have a question and answer about what's happening in the economy right now. So the Brotherhood program is open to all TBE members. You don't have to be a man. You can be anyone. But it's open to all members. It has a terrific breakfast. You can register online, and it's a great opportunity to learn together. On Wednesday, March 6th at 6 p.m., Temple Bethel is going to be hosting a screening of a movie called Plan C. Plan C, this is a movie that was actually chosen by the 2023 Sundance Film Festival and also by South by Southwest as official selection. It's a documentary that captures really the Plan C campaign and the work of activists and providers to bring male abortion pills across the United States during the pandemic. It's a fascinating story, and we're excited to show it. Thank the girls that just want to have choice of the tribe and our Temple Bethel Social Justice and Action Committee. On March 8th and 9th, we have an opportunity to learn with our Israel Scholar in Residence. And I really want to invite you to come to do this. The strengths and challenges of Ahavat Medinat Israel, of loving the state of Israel. Our Shabbat evening service on March 8th, and there's going to be a program also on the evening of March 9th, and a Torah study on March 9th as well. We're going to feature our 2024 Israel Scholar in Residence, Rabbi Ayala Ronan Samuels. Who she is, just so that you are aware of who she is the president of the Reform Rabbis of Israel. It's an organization called Maram, and she is the chief rabbi of a Reform Rabbi of Israel. And we are very excited that she's not only in the United States, but it's going to be with us for 2 days. It's a great opportunity on Saturday night to have questions and answers about what's going on in Israel, to have a Torah study on Saturday morning, on Friday night to hear her speak about the challenges of loving Israel at this moment, and really want to invite you to explore that opportunity. You can find about all of these things. If you've ever, I don't know if you know that we have a website, and we do, and you can go there. You can read about everything and sign up and register, and we're glad to have you here. After services, there's going to be an oneg in the foyer, and we're just glad to conclude Shabbat with now our prayer for peace for Israel, with the words of Oseh Shalom. And Zach, we're just thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much, and Cantor, thank you.
Oseh Shalom, Shalom b'mromav hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom, Shalom b'mromav hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yoshvei Teva. Oseh shalom, shalom b'mromav hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
Shabbat Shalom.